welcoming to the CNO show right now, promoting a new rebranding of TNA Wrestling. Out there still doing it, still going strong. You got to be like, what, 45 years old now?
I am 45.
Wow, Mick Foley joins the show. Welcome so much. Thank you so much for having me. Jesus, I can't talk to a living legend here. How awesome is this? Mick Foley, guys.
Hey, thanks for drawing attention to my age right off the bat.
Yeah, no, that's the perfect way that I like to kick off all interviews. I had Joan London on about 3-4 weeks ago. I told her, I said, hey, 55 years old, Joan London, welcome to the show.
It's a great way to meet women, yeah. Hey, you look about 53, 54? 37. What are you, about 6-7 months pregnant? I'm not pregnant. So we all make mistakes, but I'll overlook this one.
Mick, obviously I've got a chock full of questions for you, as I am very clearly a super fan.
It's so weird because I'm drinking chock full of nuts right now. I don't know if they really thought that name through back in the 50s or 40s.
Well, perhaps they should rebrand the name, much like TNA Wrestling is doing right now.
That's what you do, because we were to me, we were confusing people. I knew there was a problem. I thought TNA as a brand, as a company, was a great company. But when I would check into a hotel and who do you work for, I'd be like, Total Nonstop Action TNA. So there's a problem when you have to explain what it is, what you're doing and what your initials stand for. So this way, Impact Wrestling, it's really simple. I was really proud to have the T-shirt on yesterday. I'd be wearing it today, too, if it weren't for, the fact that it really, really needed to be washed. And I'm just proud to be in a company. This is not a shot at WWE, by the way, but I love the fact that we have wrestling right in the title.
Well, talk about that, though. When it comes to the WWE, you didn't have to put up with, I'm sure, checking into hotel rooms. I'm sure somebody probably checked in for you, or, you didn't have to worry about these things. Yeah, obviously, it's no surprise that the WWE has so much more money. Talk about the difference in the, the disparity between the two.
Wait, are you under the impression that they paid for my hotel?
I think so, yeah.
I was the champion. No, I was a champion in splitting the cot at the Red Roof every third night. It wasn't that, honestly, I was making very good money, but in wrestling, you're pretty much on your own. You get to one central city, and then you rent your own car, you stay where you want to, you eat where you want to. Oh, sorry about that. I didn't mean to burp on you guys.
That's all good. That chock full of nuts will get you.
And some guys really live it up, and then some guys live well within their means and end up having more to show for it when they're done. So WWE, they did a lot of things really well, but paying for my hotel rooms was not one of them.
Well, you mentioned living beyond your means, and I remember, I've read all your books, and I remember in the Hardcore Diaries, you had mentioned how you drive like a minivan when you're at home, like in Long Island, like this old, like 1990, like Windstar or something like that.
Well, not quite that old, but it's like a 2001, still 10 years old. It's still an embarrassment to my family. And, my son, however, realized, I remember one time he said, Dad, when I get my license, what kind of car are you getting me? And I almost spit out my milk. What? He said, well, when I get my license, what kind of car are you getting me? I said, you can drive the minivan. So I don't want to drive the minivan.
But my dad is Mick Foley.
He realized that the only thing more embarrassing than driving to a date in a minivan is your dad driving you to a date in your minivan. So he's not so tough to please anymore. But yeah, I do. I have this feeling about things that they only get worse, and so you can grow to like something ugly, but if you buy something nice, you just like it a little bit less every single day.
Obviously, I brought up your books, and you really are like a phenomenal writer. When you're writing, your writing style, it's so humorous, and you just got a great flow about you. You ever consider when you finally do retire from wrestling, if that is even an option for you? I know guys like Ric Flair are still going strong. Do you ever actually consider, just retiring and then maybe doing writing novels or something?
You know what? It shows you how well received my novels were when you're not aware that I wrote them.
Ooh.
I did. I wrote 2 novels, and they were well received, critically. Not 100%. No, don't worry about it. I did want to retire and be a novelist, but. Man, it's tough to get. You talk about rebranding. It was really tough to get people to follow me and to fiction. I thought, like you, that they really like my writing style. They're going to, jump into this, and they really didn't. So after a couple of, years of having novels out, I realized, man, if I can make more money for a comeback match once a year, and if there's a market for that, I might as well do a little more of that, and not put myself through the hundreds of hours in solitude and the weeks at a time promoting the book.
I actually read one of your books about 10 years ago, and I'm pretty sure it was an autobiography. And I remember reading this part where you were in Japan and you were in this intense, bloody match where there are thumbtacks all over the ring. And I was just blown away. I was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe this guy would do that." When you were in your prime, back in the day, was there anything that you wouldn't do? I mean, because that sounded insane.
All right, so 45 years old and no longer in your prime. We've got that set.
No, come on, come on.
Prime.
You know what I mean.
3 things I wouldn't do: suntan, dress nice, eat healthy.
Awesome. It's like my life.
You would pretty much do anything else, though.
You know what? I mean, I didn't do things that I thought were there were occasions where I did things that were reckless. But, for example, when you were in there in Japan and they replaced the ropes with barbed wire.
It's insane.
You take the Mr. Miyagi approach. You either stay on one side of the road and you're fine.
Right.
You go on the other side, you're fine. But if you do it halfway, you get, squashed like a grape. So that stuff, you either embrace it and do your very best in it, or you don't get involved in it at all, because otherwise you'll get, you'll rob people of their money. You'll be out of a job, and you'll get hurt even worse.
Huh. Now, I remember a match that you had as Cactus Jack way back when, maybe about 15 years ago now, and it was with Terry Funk. And now, obviously, some is left up to the imagination when it comes to the sport of wrestling. But, I mean, you guys were literally ripping each other to shreds. Talk about just the recovery process after a match like that and how much of it actually is real that people don't realize.
Yeah, the one match was the King of the Death match where there were explosives involved, and again, don't try this at home. The next day, I was literally I was a mess. I had 42 stitches in 6 different places.
God.
So it wasn't one wound; it was several, and they were doing such a job of patching me up at the hospital that I never even mentioned I'd landed on an explosive, and that my skin, my skin had been burned off my arm. Because for a few hours it's the same color. It wasn't until the next day that it started turning brown. And the lady next to me, and I'd been bumped up to business for the first time in my life. And an hour later, I looked for the lady. I thought she'd gone to use the restroom, and she was like back in 27C, just like looking out the window, like in shock. There's the guy next to her. My hair was all matted with blood, and it was burned. That great smell of stale blood and burnt hair and flesh. And then and my skin was literally falling off my arm. So it was a tough recovery process. But I think I made $300 that night. So
nice. Just getting off from work. Let me ask you just a couple more questions in retrospect of your career. You've had so many characters that have been so well received and so loved and so revered. You had obviously Cactus Jack, Dude Love. You played yourself, Mick Foley. But by far, I think the most well received of all was Mankind. And obviously you had some of your most memorable moments in the WWE as Mankind. Do people still associate you with Mankind, or are they able to finally separate you as Mick Foley?
You know what? I think in most of the country they did. It's funny because down south, almost exclusively Mankind. When people say, "Man, you're Mankind." Speaking, can I get a quick plug in? Mankind plug along with a shout out to a few of my friends in D.C.
Yes, of course.
I did an online auction of some of my best career items, which included the Hell in a Cell shirt, the first Mankind shirt, the sock I was wearing when I beat The Rock for my first WWE Championship.
That is so sick.
100% of the money went to RAIN, which stands for Rape, Abuse, Incest National Network, and they're based out of D.C. They're a small group that do an amazingly large job, and we had done a fundraiser where we had raised $101,000 via Twitter And then the online auction of the stuff netted an additional $19,000. So,
wow.
For a small group, we did an amazingly good job of creating awareness and raising money.
Those guys are based out of D.C.?
Yeah,
Oh,
they're
cool.
over there on L Street. So
do they have
hey, everybody?
Do they have a website over there?
Yeah, RAINN, RAINN.org, and that's where people can go if they want to donate, think about volunteering, or if they or somebody they know is in need of crisis intervention
How did you get involved with those guys?
Well, I started 3 years ago. I started donating some money. I realized that it was a big deal that wasn't getting much attention, and I think people just passed it off as being a woman's problem or a problem for survivors. But every person who's directly affected, there are family members and friends who are indirectly affected, and there's such a sense of shame that most people don't come forward to talk about it. And I've just learned that it's unlike the kids we deal with in Make-A-Wish, where a certain amount of loss is inevitable, that in this case, 100% of these instances are preventable. So I think we can do something. Especially, I would love to have other people in the sports world step up. It's one thing to have a wrestler, but I would love to have a prominent football player and a NASCAR guy and a bull rider, like all, kind of taking part in a PSA and creating some awareness.
Well, we should definitely be able to get some Redskins involved in it if it's based out of D.C., right?
Yeah, can we do that?
Yeah, we're gonna work on that after
All
this.
right, it's got to be a prominent guy, okay? And it can't be Riggins.
So
we
not
can't go back that far.
Not a punter or a kicker.
Hey,
You won't take that?
You probably heard, no punter. Did you hear this story? I got to tell you a quick Riggins story I heard when I was at an event in D.C. He's probably told this before. And have you heard this one where he showed up and he was lost in the middle of the country and knocks on the guy's trailer door, and the guy invites him. He goes, "Hey, we're going to have a little party going on. I want to invite you." He says, "Okay, what's going to go on there?" He says, "Oh, there's going to be a whole lot of drinking." Rigo said, "Sounds good." He goes, "There's going to be a whole little bit of fighting." Sounds pretty good. A whole lot of lovemaking. Rigo said, "Man, count me in." He said, "Who's going to be here?" And the guy said, "Just me and you."
That actually happened again last night.
That's it for wrap.
Mick, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. It was an honor to talk to you.
Thank you.
And of course, don't forget, TNA is rebranding now currently as Impact Wrestling. And of course, spend some good fortune over at RAINN.org, based right here out of D.C. Mick Foley, always the charitable man. Thank you so much for spending time with the CNO
Hey,
show.
appreciate it. Thanks a lot for having me on.
Thanks,